Okay, so we're supposed to be getting a new Shante game that's supposed to be released sometime in 2024, and a date that has yet to be revealed. It's going to be developed by Way Forward, published by Limited Run Games. It's supposed to be a game where the story takes place between the original Shante game from 2002 and Shantae's Risky Revenge, um, which came out in 2010. And this game is supposed to be called Shantae Advance, and pretty much Shantae Advance is supposed to be the sequel to the original Shantae game from '02. And it was a game that I believe Way Forward initially they were working on it like right before the release of the original Shantae game, but then it got canceled due to the fact that they couldn't find a publisher at the time. Because as you remember, the original Shantae game had Capcom as its publisher, and I think I guess Capcom, dropped Way Forward or what have you, but apparently, apparently this is basically a 2000s game for the Game Boy Advance that we're getting in 2024. Now, a lot of people feel like Way Forward probably should have started from scratch and remade the game from the ground up and had it released for current generation game systems like the PS5 or Xbox Series X or Nintendo Switch. And I feel like a game like this would definitely stand out on Steam if you're like a PC user or whatever. But like Game Boy Advance, it's something that's really old. It's more than 20 years old. I believe Game Boy Advance first hit retail back in 2001, and I believe it got overshadowed by Nintendo DS and you know PlayStation Portable, like from the mid 2000s onwards. And like when you think about Game Boy Advance, you really think about Pokemon, Mario, Zelda, all that. I feel like if Shantae Advance came out during that time period, it would have gotten overshadowed just like the original Shantae game from 2002. And this game is supposed to be a platform Metrovania type game, just like all the other entries in the series. And I believe this game is going to see the introduction of like Shantae's friends. I think she has three friends that are going to be introduced in this game. So that's something to look forward to if you've been a longtime fan of the series. But as far as this game being on Game Boy Advance, I'm not exactly sure how well it's going to do in terms of sales. In fact, it might do like really poorly in terms of sales because a lot of people don't really own a Game Boy Advance anymore because a lot of people go and they sell theirs at used game stores and all that stuff. And while it's true that the Game Boy Advance is way more affordable than anything you would see in retail right now, like Walmart or Best Buy or what have you, Game Boy Advance is considered to be obsolete for the most part, in a lot of people's eyes. But at the same time, it's pretty cool that Way Forward is reviving a project that they basically gave up on back in the 2000s. And as far as like how popular this game is going to get and all that, I'm not exactly sure whether or not it's going to attract mainstream attention or anything like that. Especially considering the fact that it's a Game Boy Advance exclusive. They probably could have I don't know, they probably could have just remade it and just had it on Steam or something like that, and it probably would get more attention. But it's just I feel like this game is definitely going to be something that like the niche audience of I guess gamers and Shantae fans are going to enjoy because they know that the first game was an underrated gem. The game from 2010 was, it was, beloved by many critics, even though it didn't sell too well or anything like that. But at the same time, it's kind of odd that we're getting a Game Boy Advance game or a brand new Game Boy Advance game in in 2024. And based off of what I know, this is supposed to be released exclusively in North America for the time being because I didn't read anything about it being released in Japan or UK or anything else. So I feel like this is a game that niche gamers are going to enjoy for the most part. And as far as Shantae Advanced Risky Revolution is concerned, hopefully that's a game that maybe Way Forward can port for to current generation game systems as time progresses.